We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
You are listening to The Underground Marketing Conspiracy, a secret ritual where entrepreneurs acquire highly classified and confidential business knowledge that the top 1% of income earners don't want you to know. And now, your host, Maddie Milligan.
What is going on, my fellow conspirator and conspirators? Welcome to another episode of the Underground Marketing Conspiracy. Woo! Alright guys, so I have some bad news. Apparently, Facebook is about to ban webinars. I saw this in a few of the Facebook media buying groups that I'm in. I think one of them is Facebook Ad Hacks, the other is Facebook Media Buyers. And someone was in touch with Facebook support from one of their advertising support team. And I'll read you out what they said. As of this moment, yes, it would be best if you would not advertise a webinar or a seminar. This is because we have been getting high results of webinars and seminars as a reason for high reports. And this is just negative feedback from Facebook, by the way, as a side note. All right, and then it moves on to say, with this being considered, it is highly recommended to keep, and there's a spelling here. Here it should be your page, but it says you page safe from reports. The advertising policies are not yet updated with this, but will be soon. Not only the word webinar is causing this, but the whole purpose of the ad, which is to sign up for the webinar. So it would be best for you to hear from the clients if they would like to join in and secure a spot with their approval from your contact of the lead gen ad. So that's what their support team says, and there's a little bit more from someone it looks like who went over the ad from Facebook's team, but I won't really get into that, to be honest. But based on that, it seems like Facebook is about to ban webinars completely. Now, sure, you could use something to get around that. Instead of calling it a webinar, you could call it a web class or a master class. And right then and there, I'm sure the company Masterclass, who runs these very high-level training programs, I'm sure they'll be fine. They spend tons of money on Facebook, so they're fine regardless, right? It looks like what Facebook doesn't want you to do is to send people from the ad on Facebook to register for a webinar. What I think they would probably prefer you do is use one of their lead ad campaigns, get their email, and then send an email after being like, hey, do you want to sign up for this webinar from the email? And it looks like that is what they're trying to do. Based on what that said, though, it looks like lots of users have complained that I'm sure, A, they don't want to see ads for webinars, B, maybe they've purchased something from a similar marketing campaign in the past and they've been burned very hard. Maybe they didn't get the results that they want, or that person took them out of the money, because that stuff happens, right? Let's be honest, right? There's definitely a lot of scammers and spammers out there, right? And the benefit for you as an ethical marketer, or at least thinking and being an honest and ethical marketer, is that this is actually a good opportunity for you because there's so many other things you can do in terms of using Facebook campaigns, right? I recommend, even then, as I always talk about, you need to know your avatar and have your offer really ironed out before you move into Facebook ads, especially if you're a coach, a consultant, or a service-based business. Really knowing your avatar and then doing organic traffic on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and YouTube. The strategy I talked about, how to crush social media in 2020, you can go back and rewatch that episode a few episodes back. But if you really think about this is a big opportunity for you. And there's some ways to work around this, right? Like from your ad, you can invite people to a Facebook group. Then do like a challenge. I've seen that be super effective. You send them, it's like, hey, we're starting this group. We have a challenge starting on this like next week. And it takes place, and set a deadline on that group. So when people do go and actually join that group, you can have a deadline so that the group just vanishes. And sure, you might be concerned. It's like, oh, I'm going to spend all this time building this group. But it's like, sure, you could send people from that main group at the end of it to another big group where everyone can gather. And that's still a community for people who aren't ready to invest in your offer at the end. But you could also have that challenge again, where you're using the first few days to educate people, to break their false beliefs, overcome their objections, and then make their offer on the last day. And all that stuff is going to provide them with a lot of value. And then sure, people are still going to buy regardless at the end of that because you had value. Otherwise, there's all sorts of other ways that you can use Facebook ads, right? Showing people video view ads and then sending to a landing page, creating organic content like doing Facebook Lives, shouting out your domain name for where they can get your stuff. I've been watching this one dude who I follow, and he's not even in marketing. He just does a lot of health-related stuff, which I'm going to talk about in the next episode. And what he does is, in his videos, is like, hey, it's me from this domain.com. And then he goes into it. He's like, today we're going to be talking about this and how to get better health doing that. And then he gives a little bit of value, and then he has a quick segue into one of his ads where it's like, hey, and if you are interested in this stuff, you can get my free book by going to thisdomain.com/free book. Go and get that now. You just need to pay for the shipping, and I'll ship it to you absolutely free. And then again, it pivots, and it's a quick segue into a mini offer. And he'll do that 3 to 5 times throughout these videos. And that's another thing that you can do as well with Facebook ads, for example. Set up your Facebook ads, run them, and then provide value and shout out your domain multiple times throughout the video. And please make sure that you are adding closed caption to your videos. Most people, when they're going to see your video ad, they're not going to have their sound on, right? Which is why a lot of these companies like YouTube, for example, if you send people to your landing page, you can't have your sound turned on automatically, right? It can't just autoplay your video. So a lot of these media companies, Google, which again, Alphabet owns Google, and YouTube and Facebook, it looks like they're cracking down a lot of these like modern, I guess, marketing tactics, right? So you have to adjust to that. That's really the point that I'm trying to make in here. But I wouldn't see this as the end of everything. It's like, oh no, I can't use a webinar. It's like, yes, you can still use a webinar. You just need to like get people on your email list, educate them, and then invite them to the webinar, and then have the same structure that you would usually have, right? Just don't send people to an opt-in page to watch the webinar, right? And even if maybe you can send them, again, this is something that I'm not even sure if this is a workaround, but you could also just, again, get people to buy something on the first page or give away something for free. And then on the second page, just have a video being like, hey, congratulations, your training just starts right now, right? That way you're pre-faming it. So it's like, oh, you've opted in for this as well. So you are technically working around. I mean, that potentially could go, but that's another way as well. But it looks like, again, Facebook is really cracking down on these webinars. So if you rely that solely for a live webinar or an evergreen webinar, you probably won't be able to get as many registrations from Facebook if you're just sending people to opt in for that webinar. But there's workarounds like I mentioned. And this might be another opportunity as well where I don't like to rely on just Facebook ads, because your ad account can get banned at any point unless you're spending tons and tons of money on Facebook ads and you're a huge enterprise company, like if you're McDonald's or Adidas or one of these bigger advertisers that has literally unlimited ad spend. But chances are you're a small to medium to large size business owner and you want to scale intelligently. And you don't have unlimited amounts of money like these big companies do to just test out hundreds of different campaigns. So there's all sorts of other opportunities to do content marketing organically. You could use LinkedIn ads if you do B2B. There's all sorts of other native advertising platforms as well, where you can just advertise your content, not necessarily advertorials, but if you look into Taboola, if you look into Outbrain, those are a couple of examples of native advertising where you pay them, they show your content and little banner ads on other high authority websites in a lot of cases. And then you boomerang people to your content, you educate them, bring up the problem, same kind of ads that I usually run, bring up the problem, introduce your product as a solution, have a call to action, and then from there you can send them to a webinar. But this must have happened again because lots of consumers probably complained to Facebook where they're like, oh, not another webinar. It's like, oh my God. And I know because again, I'm on a million lists. I'm seeing all these Facebook ads. I've customized my profile in Facebook so that I pretty much only see digital marketing stuff. And there's an extension I use as well where you can just turn off all your regular content in your feed and only look at ads. And I'll do that once a month and really just go in deep and see what ads are running right now and are the most popular, and really just looking at other campaigns people are running and seeing what sort of creatives and thing that they're using successfully. And if I see that ad running for a long time on Facebook, then chances are it's making that advertiser money. And especially if they're creating new ads around that, if they're using that same image with different copy, if they're using the same copy with different images, clearly they've found a winner. I'm not going to copy them. Obviously, I'm not going to take it word for word verbatim and copy them, but I'm going to add that to my swipe file for sure and be like, all right, maybe I can add an element of that to come up with something that'll help further support the big idea for that entire campaign. So I think this is a chance as well for a lot of newer Facebook people to actually succeed. And the majority of people, I don't think they set up a budget for how much money they need with Facebook ads. I mean, if I were to really advertise, I would have minimum $1,000 to spend on Facebook ads just to test out with the idea that I'm not going to get anything back with that $1,000, because you're going to get so much data from spending that $1,000. And again, if you're just starting out, like, give away something for free, have a self-liquidating offer. Like that's a very straightforward thing. That way you can basically just acquire customers for free, and it doesn't need to be something necessarily that expensive. Like under $100 should suffice. But don't rely solely on Facebook ads, because you never know what will happen to your ad account. And again, it looks like Facebook is going to take this a lot more seriously next year, and it looks like they're in the process of eliminating a lot of these webinars. But like I said, for you as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a marketer, I wouldn't look at this as the end of the world. I would look to this as a huge opportunity for you to succeed and grow your business further. Hope you enjoyed today's episode of the Underground Marketing Conspiracy. If you did, I suggest you go back and maybe listen to a few other episodes, maybe even go back to the beginning and listen from the beginning. Otherwise, if you do enjoy these, wherever you're listening to this didn't really make sense there, but wherever you're listening to this, consider subscribing, maybe even sharing this with a fellow entrepreneur or business person that you know to give them some additional ideas. My name is Matty Milligan, and I will see you next time on another episode of the Underground Marketing Conspiracy. Woo!